You wanted it. You got it. It's another Hawk Rock Talk. Hawk Rock Talk.
Hog Rock Talk.
Hawk Rock Talk.
Welcome down to Hog Rock Talk. We're talking hogs.
Don't you hogs? Hawk Rock Talk.
This is if Mike and the Mad Dog and the Car Talk guys did a show about rock.
The Car Talk guys.
Did you have Mike and the Mad Dog? Did it reach down to you?
I don't think we had Mike and the Mad Dog. We definitely had Car Talk.
Mike and the Mad Dog was sports.
Yes.
And
we
I
didn't
hated
really...
it. My dad listened to it nonstop, and it drove me up a wall.
The only sports radio, and just because I wasn't really a fan, so I'm probably wrong here. But the sports radio that I remember being on the most or even paying attention to was any of the like local stations talking about Virginia Tech Hokie football.
Sure.
That was pretty much it. Like, I didn't pay attention to anything. I was never really... I was into the baseball and the NFL as a very little kid. And then, like, once I discovered rock and roll, it was all over.
Yeah, I mean, I truly was never at any point in my life into sports at all.
Did you play anything?
I played football up until freshman year, and I played lacrosse up until my junior year, and then played baseball and Little League and all that. But lacrosse and football,
I played 4 days of the. I mean, this includes like the summer training program and all that jazz.
Oh yeah,
of high school football. As a freshman, 4 days in, so first week of school, 4 days in, I go into the locker room to quit. And Coach D. Hart, he was one of the PE teachers. I don't even remember what year he taught me PE. But Coach D. Hart's sitting there, and I say, hey, Coach D. Hart, I got to quit. And he's like, oh, man, why, Slaw Dog? Why? Why, Slaw Dog, why?
I know why.
Why?
Why you gonna do this to me?
Come on, why are you doing this to the team, Slaw Dog? It's a Radford Bobcats, Slaw Dog. You're letting down the rest of the cats. And I just fucking barefaced lied. I'm like, I'm failing math. And he says, oh shit. Well, shit, Slaw Dog. You got to keep them grades up. And so I think I'm fucking almost out of it. But then he's like, on the other hand, Slaw Dog, do you want to manage the team?
Oh, boy.
And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't.
If I can't play, I don't want to be
I don't want to manage. I managed the high school wrestling team. In 8th grade because my neighbors were wrestlers on the team and I was friends with them. And I guess that's why he just assumed I would be a sucker.
Sure.
Managers were suckers, man. They were just like lowest of the low.
Yeah. I mean, if I could, I mean, well, I mean, it's not like I forgot this, but I also was the water boy for the high school team up until I got there because why I also couldn't pull your bullshit lie. I think I've told you, my dad was one of the high school coaches, so I couldn't escape it. It truly was like,
there was no way out. There's no way out.
The only way out was that I started doing acting, and then it's only recently my dad's like, I knew you didn't care. Like, I just wanted you to be doing stuff. Like, I knew you didn't. Fuck. Like, and I'm like, yeah, man, I didn't. I mean, I did go to Joe Namath football camp, and Joe
was
Namath,
he there?
He came on one day.
Yeah.
He touched my scrotum because I was a center at that point, and he was showing how to take a snap.
Oh, I thought he was doing the physicals.
No.
The turn your head and cough.
He needed to get a physical because, man, when he wasn't doing those Ben Gay commercials or whatever, he looked like a beaten up troll. It's like his knee was like the trolls sideways.
I hear the trolls under the bridge. Let's go kick his ass.
It was nuts. My biggest thing that I liked out of it was that you had access to the Quinnipiac bookstore, and I would use money my mom gave me for lunch to buy Bloom County and Calvin and Hobbes collection.
Any Far Side?
Oh, I already had them all, so I didn't need those. I needed to catch up on that. I mean, eventually you get to the point where, like, I guess I'll buy Foxtrot because I need more.
Foxtrot was never good, though.
No, but I owned 8 to 10 of their collections because I had run out, like, at a certain point.
I was not a Calvin and Hobbes reader.
Huge.
I didn't read Bloom County. I was strictly, and this goes to what we were talking about before with... before we even hit record, we were talking about horror movies, and I said that I was just pretty much a Freddy Krueger guy, which is great because everyone wants to really,
lean into that pederast.
Yeah, my favorite horror guy's a pedophile. It's like rooting for Jared Fogle now.
Pedophile. You know what I'm saying? If he's got a real, and I love that he says the word bitch a lot.
Yeah, get with it, bitch. Oh God.
No man, I sampled them all. I had every Bloom County collection, every Far Side collection, every Outland collection, the comic strip after Bloom County.
I was Garfield
Doonesbury collections.
Oh my God! No, there's no reason to have Doonesbury. It was all
my dad.
It was all politics
Doonesbury.
We didn't understand.
I know, but I liked Uncle Duke, who was essentially Hunter S. Thompson.
Yes,
and I had the Uncle Duke collection with the Uncle Duke action figure.
Unbelievable.
And of course, that means we're talking about Thin Lizzy.
Thin Lizzy. Perfect intro.
Yes,
I knew we would get there. Perfect seg.
That's why we're professionals, people.
That's why we do this. That's why we do Hawk because we get right to it. Just like an episode of The Hawk, we're about 6-something minutes in.
7 minutes.
Yeah, and it's just like.
Right, we have a guest. No, our guest is Thin Lizzy.
We should figure out a way to weasel our guest into this storyline.
Yeah, interesting thing. I think our guest might have an input.
Oh, hey, do you have any thoughts on this crazy shit we've been talking about for 7 minutes?
We've already come up with 4 storylines.
Yeah. We're not sure which one we're going to take. But today, guys, we are doing... And first off, before we hop into this, because let's add a few more minutes to this intro.
Of course.
I just want to thank all of the Hawk listeners for loving the Hawk.
Yeah.
And also for loving the Hawk Rock Talk. These have been fun to do. We're going to keep doing these bonus episodes. So if there are any bands that you'd like to hear us cover, and it's in the rock and roll area, let us know. Let us know in
a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts.
Hey, that's the best place to put it. That's the best place.
That's where we get all of our comments and input is from. And you have to always just say, Deep Purple Mach 3. I really like this, Jeff. That's all you got to do for a 5-star review.
5 stars. Over at Apple Podcasts. Help us out. Thin Lizzy is the band today, and I have to say, this is Jeff's baby. As he's wearing a Thin Lizzy hat right now. Wait, this is the wrong one, though. This is the hat.
No. This one's less wrong. So here's the deal, people. Okay. I bought a bootleg Thin Lizzy shirt. There's a lot of bootleg guys out there on Instagram making every metal and death metal shirt you could ever want. They made these Thin Lizzy shirts. I ordered a blue one. They sent
me for a bootleg hat?
I think 24.
Okay.
It's terrible. It's always a gamble because my head is humongous, and half the time they don't fit.
Oh, me too. I can't wear fucking hats.
No, they fit like, I always say, like John Goodman and Roseanne. Like, they're just floating on top of my head. But, ordered one, sent it to me, and it was black. I had ordered blue. Luckily, they were like, oh, keep it. We'll send you another one. We'll send you the blue one. But the way they bootlegged and printed it on the black one especially, the way the Thin Lizzy logo is, if you know, the L goes into a line underneath. However, the stitching went, they missed the connective tissue. So the L is the line from the L is connected to the I. So it looks like Thin Ilzy on my other one. This one is slightly better, but it still is not the greatest. It's still bootleg, and there's a charm to that.
Yeah, there's a real charm to that. We are covering Thin Ilzy today.
Thin Ilzy, baby. That's my favorite band.
On Hack Rack Tack.
Gonna have to do a tribute band called Thin Ilzy.
Thin Ilzy. I mean, man, after listening to this, I would be into that. This is your baby, man. I'm going to let you take it. Take it.
Thin Lizzy is one of the greatest bands ever. But yeah, they are.
And that's the show. Thank you for listening. 5-star review on Apple.
So Thin Lizzy are a Irish hard rock proto metal band. And they.
What makes it proto metal for you?
The twin guitar. It's a little bit less proto metal in that usually the proto metal stuff will be a little bit closer to like what Sabbath was doing, but it's like to me it's proto metal for twin guitar attack style. What would merge with this in like new wave of British heavy metal style playing. And so yeah, it's a band that most people, if you know Thin Lizzy, as it was the deal for me, and I think was for you up until like this week, really. People know Thin Lizzy as the boys are back in town.
The boys are back in town.
The boys are back in town. Or Jailbreak, maybe.
The boys are back.
Because like all of the bands we will most likely cover on Hawk Rock Talk, Classic Rock has determined that there are 2 songs from every band, and they must be played to death. Versus, there are 12 records, I think, of Thin Lizzy.
Oh, God, yeah. I will say this. 105.3 The Bear, which was my first radio station, and I was music director of that radio station for a very long time. We played 5 Thin Lizzy songs.
What songs?
We played, let's see if you can guess them.
Rosalie.
No.
The Rocker.
No.
Emerald Ever.
No.
Whiskey in a Jar.
Yes, that's one.
What's the song from Black Road? Maybe. Actually, I'm just gonna look at Live and Dangerous and take a guess. Not Rosalie. Dance in the Moonlight.
Yes.
Yes, and people would be like, "Oh, that's a cool Van Morrison song." Like,
I played that this morning for Kristen. Because I was like, who does this sound like to you? And she's like, fuck, I don't know. Fucking Van Morrison?
I mean, not too
far
off.
It's not too far off. It's also very not far off from like a Spirit in the Night by Bruce and the E Street Band. I heard a lot of like early Bruce, like the way early Bruce's voice was up until, I would say, through Born to Run. Yep. Born to Run was a little bit more of the guttural starts to come out a little bit more, but like Phil, is it Lynott or Lynott?
I always say Lynott. I'm not sure actually.
Phil Lynott's voice, who's the front man of Thin Lizzy, very, very similar to a Bruce.
Yes,
and there were a lot of these songs,
and they have a very similar. They're storytellers.
Yes,
just like Bruce. These are all also descriptors of why, much to the chagrin of my wife, that I am such a big Thin Lizzy fan and that we listen to them often, because I don't think it's her favorite aspect of Thin Lizzy, if at all, that she maybe even likes. She really doesn't love Phil's talk singing style of storytelling.
So she's a Hold Steady fan, is basically what you're saying.
Oh my God. And that's the crazy part. I mean, that's why it also, Thin Lizzy is shocking me, because I need to go deeper on Bruce, and we'll get there when we get to Bruce.
That was my next question, so I'm glad you brought that up. So you're not very deep on Bruce.
No, it's never completely struck me. At Nebraska, I'm like that pain in the ass, so I'm like, Nebraska's a great record. But then the other ones, whatever, they're fine.
Nebraska's okay.
I love Nebraska.
I don't like... I like Nebraska. It's not something that I choose to listen to very often.
I'm a depressing man.
I think it's a little bit of a fucking downer.
I'm a depressing man.
That's why you like it.
That's the other. That will also, though, relate to one of the reasons maybe I never got super into Bruce. Why, even though we played with them a bunch back in the day, like I was never a big Hold Steady fan. And is the weird part of Thin Lizzy, but also why I think the thing that differentiates them a bit is they're close to being, and this will apply to maybe a future episode of Hawk Rock Talk as well, they're close to being too fun for me sometimes. Like,
okay.
Because it's just a legitimate fact that I've realized about myself. Like, I don't really love fun music.
But you like Genesis.
I don't see Genesis as fun.
You don't see them dancing around on a soundstage to Invisible Touch. And
that's
pretending
the
drumsticks are a microphone.
Of Genesis to me. That's the outliers of Genesis.
But it's fun. It's still fun. It's still part of it.
That's like 2 to 3 songs out of like a humongous catalog. And it's again, to me, is the outlier. It's not what I think of when I think of Genesis. It's just in general, like, and none of these are steadfast Garlock rules. They're steadfast lemon sour rules.
Right.
I don't gravitate towards fun music. I don't listen to pop music partly because of that.
But this is pretty goddamn fun.
Well, that's the thing, like Thin Lizzy, and that's why I also think for a long time I didn't explore them or love them. Like the first time they really showed up, like re-showed up, because you need that, like, if they're not a part of your life, they need to kind of come back in your life. And it was in the Panthers tour van where a couple members started playing Thin Lizzy now and then. And I remember hating the Cowboy song. I was like, this song is driving me up a wall. Like, I can't, like, it's super talk singy, telling a story. But then it really clicked. And then I was like, oh, I should probably explore other ones. And then slowly became, like, in retrospect, when I think about my kind of musical career in Panthers, I often think, like, the band, like, one of the bands I wish we had brought in an influence of more was Thin Lizzy. Like, I wish we had, like, and I don't think that would have ever happened. We would have, like, too many personalities working against that. But I look back and I'm like, man, I would have loved to have tried to do some version of the Thin Lizzy thing. Like, a little bit between guitar here. Like, because, and it's also maybe just injecting a little bit more fun. Like, when I play music, I don't think of fun when I'm playing. I don't think about it when I'm listening to it. But Thin Lizzy is, but they're melancholy too. They're Irish.
Yeah, they're
melancholy.
They're definitely much more melancholy than Bruce. I mean, Bruce has his melancholy moments. That's Nebraska.
That's why I listen to Nebraska.
Right, and you know, and that's like Devils and Dust, and you know, records like that. But like, I do think, and this is a future episode, we'll of course 100% do Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band.
I'm excited to do a deep dive.
Because I think that's something that you're going to find that there's a commonality between this and Bruce. And I was hearing that so much, especially, I just got, let me get into it here just a little bit here. Here's what really stuck out to me. You gave me a list of a few Thin Lizzy albums to check out.
Yes. I had to hold back from being like, just listen to the whole discography, will you?
Yeah. No, you couldn't do that to me. I didn't have the time. We were thinking about doing this, but
I've never been good at making mixtapes. Like when that was like when we were kids, because I'd always be like, I'm just gonna put the whole record.
You're like, just listen to the fucking album.
Kinda. I'm not like a singles guy. I like really am like an album guy.
Here's something I think may shock you, or you might be right on track with me on this. Fighting by Thin Lizzy should have been one of the biggest classic rock albums ever.
Yeah.
And I think out of this entire batch, Fighting was my favorite.
And I can definitely see that for you too. It's like, it is like, that makes sense.
And it is, so just for everybody knows, this is the album that came out in 1975 for Thin Lizzy. It had Rosalie on it, Wild One, For Those Who Love to Live. Spirit Slips Away is such a cool song. I mean, the whole record, like, when I listened to Rosalie, I was like, I can't believe this isn't a Bruce song.
Well, it's a Seeger song.
Oh, it does kind of sound like that, yeah.
Because it is.
Oh, it is?
It's from 72, or live in 72. It's a cover.
Okay. Well, there you go.
The Seeger version is slower.
Right.
This is definitely one where it's like, no. Thin Lizzy's version is infinitely better. Like,
gotcha.
If you slowed it down a bit, then you can really feel the Seeger in it. But Rosalie is like, I sing Rosalie all the time. I wander around singing it to myself. I had an old landlady whose name was Rosalie, so I'd sing it about her all the time.
It's great. It's so great. I mean, just this whole record, I was really blown away. And I stopped myself because I was listening to it while I was cleaning. And I stopped myself so many times, and I'm like, I wanted to text you, but then I was like, I got to save it for the pod.
Yeah.
You got to save it for the pod.
You gotta
save it for the pod.
If you're not making it into content, what's the point?
What's the point? Sometimes we'll hold off texts from each other just to be like, I need to hold this for content.
Yeah, I mean, it's not completely wrong because like I want to say more than just a text.
Well, usually like we'll text just like the dumbest ideas.
Yes.
Or which, are the greatest ideas for the Hawk, where it's just like, and then this happens, and then this happens. Yeah, I was cleaning and listening to the fighting record, and I just stopped myself so many times, and I just asked my question, that Bruce question, like, Geoff should be the biggest Bruce fan, because it feels like these bands should have only toured together.
Yeah, I think one big difference is Phil Lynott himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just think like,
oh, completely.
They are similar and pulling from the same world,
mm-hmm.
like, or idea of how to kind of do music. Because again, if you don't know, like, Phil Lynott is the main force of Thin Lizzy. It's always been the drummer and Phil.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the problems of Thin Lizzy is they went through so many guitarists. There are just so many issues with guitarists.
Yeah.
But Phil was always the main songwriter, and his voice is very distinct. And his sense of melody and vocals is the thing. Like, I need to, again, with that, going further in the Bruce catalog, hear if if Bruce could ever get there, because that's the thing that stands out. Is just like, to me, is just like the vocal melodies that Phil Lynott came up with are pretty unbelievable. Like, always. Like, and also he's a very impressive bass player as well. Like, he can both lay back and be a lead and play it like a guitar. But they also Bruce doesn't have the metal part. Like, that's the big thing. Like,
no, there isn't. That just does not exist there.
No, and the twin guitar thing gets more and more as time goes on, which apparently came from like a mistake in the studio. Like, the engineer, like, they had recorded double tracks and then it like got knocked off like a millisecond. They're like, oh, that's pretty good. Like, we should try doing that. And they basically invented twin guitar attack, which is
insane.
Everything I love in metal. Like, that goes into Judas Priest,
Maiden,
and then goes into the new wave of Swedish death metal stuff, like this melodic death metal where they do those double leads. And so yeah, I think but Phil's it's unbelievably catchy. Like, everything that he writes.
Yes, everything should have. All of this, and I listened to. I'll just give you the rundown of what I listened to for this batch. Fighting is tremendous. Then I went on to Jailbreak. Of course, I've heard this record before.
Yeah.
It's great. It's so good. It is. Jailbreak
gets lost because of those two singles.
Mm-hmm.
As like being like, oh yeah, in my mind, like, it's just like, oh yeah, you have these moments where like, I don't need to listen to Jailbreak that often.
But it's Angel from the Coast, so good, and Romeo and the Lonely Girl, so good.
And Emerald is one of my favorite. That's up there, might be my favorite, if not second favorite, Thin Lizzy song.
Yeah.
I mean, oddly, my favorite Thin Lizzy song is Killing of a Buffalo off of Chinatown. It's
okay.
A really weird kind of semi-proggy.
It's not a Boogie Woogie Dance off of Johnny the Fox?
Oh man, Johnny the Fox. Johnny the Fox I love, but has also got some moments that you're like, but that's the crazy part. That's the thing that is the unknown with Thin Lizzy, is they'll do shit that other bands could not do, like Boogie Woogie, whatever. Right. And I'll be like, if any other band did this, it would be the dumbest thing in the world.
But it's two records in the same year. They put out Jailbreak in 76. They put out Johnny the Fox in 76. Johnny the Fox didn't really hit me that hard. It's an album I think I need to go back into and try. Is it their Elder? Like Kiss, that's the album that everybody hates, or that, everybody, if you love the Elder, you love the Elder.
Well, it's hard because that is also, though, the interesting part of Thin Lizzy is I don't know what most people feel about Thin Lizzy. Because as you were kind of asking me, like, it's like, why aren't they the biggest band ever?
Why aren't they the biggest band ever?
It is confusing why they weren't. I mean, a big chunk of it is, so, like, I don't know if there's general consensus sometimes like with other bands, you can be like, oh yeah, that's the band, or that's the album most people think this or this. Partly because they are weirdly like a band everyone knows, but then they also are underrated and nobody knows their whole catalog, or is how it feels to me. Now, so yeah, it is hard to tell. I mean, a big chunk I don't know. They're also like, not to get into a side conversation about them, but like part of with them not being as kind of big as you would imagine they could be. I don't know. They are this kind of great example of you can be a band that put out 1 billion records and worked your butt off, and still not really ever like clicks completely.
Are they classic rock's big star in a way?
They might be, honestly. I think they could be. I mean, but they also took them. I mean, did Big Star take themselves out with drugs? They kind of took themselves out with drugs too.
Not really. Not really. No. But
Phil's drug problems were definitely like basically what ended the band.
Was it coke? Like, was it heroin? What was the
heroin and everything? Like it seems like in any of the documentaries I've seen, it's just like they basically are like Phil really loved being a rock star, like more than anyone. Like if he wasn't putting on leather pants and getting into a limo, he thought the day was pointless, sort of thing. And
that's honestly, that's what I think every day. If I'm not putting on my leather pants and getting in a limo, what am I doing?
I'm wearing them right now. I'm wearing my leathers, man.
I'm in the limo right now.
I mean, he's also it has to be said, if you don't know, a tall Irish black man when there literally were no black men in Ireland.
This is the other point that I wanted to ask you, because I don't really know much about the history of Thin Lizzy outside of, playing The Boys Are Back in Town probably 1,800 times during my radio career. Was racism part of what kept Thin Lizzy from being the biggest band?
Could have been. I mean, also...
I imagine it has to be a factor.
Well, combined with, it seems like everyone, like in the documentaries, like emphasized they were the first big Irish kind of rock band, like, so that's another part. It's just
Free
like
U2.
Yeah, so like this is like also like people's feelings on Ireland.
The Proclaimers, were the Proclaimers Irish?
Yeah, Scottish, I think.
Were they Scottish?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they're gonna hate hearing this.
Yeah. Oh my god. Sorry, Proclaimers.
Sorry.
And so they also were like
throws his headphones at the other brother,
breaking his nerd glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do think also they were living in a world, like, they were, like, hidden in Ireland. So they had to, like, and, yeah, it is an interesting thing because, like, it doesn't feel like the racism against his mother seems to come out in documentaries. But
and I read about that in some stuff, too. Like, she had to move him from his early school.
Yeah.
He moved in with his grandparents.
Right.
Because
and she acted like he was adopted or something, like her.
Yeah.
And it's a tough upbringing, especially in Ireland.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the most you get is that kind of just like, I didn't really see him as black. I just saw him as another mate, like sort of thing.
Well, this is obviously from someone in Liverpool when he visited Liverpool.
Obviously,
right?
Because I can realize the hard part with the Irish accent is I don't have enough of those touchstones. I think actually the touchstone is the name Thin Lizzy.
Yeah.
Because the reason they're called Thin Lizzy is off of some comic strip character. That's why we were talking about Calvin and Hobbes.
That's why it's all connected. It was
called Thin Lizzy. But they called it Thin Lizzy because in Ireland and there you call it Tin Lizzy.
Go to me to know the Tin Lizzy.
You go to Tin Lizzy. Tin Lizzy.
That's
and that would be my
Irish accent I've ever made. I have so many ancestors from Ireland and I just blew it for all of them. I'm going to be haunted. Yeah. Haunted by them. And just also, too, if you're, unfamiliar with Thin Lizzy like I was, they really got their big break from doing a cover of an Irish folk song, which was also written by Metallica.
Yeah, they wrote it.
Metallica wrote this.
Got in a time machine.
Whiskey in the jar.
Not my favorite Metallica cover, I would say.
That's your favorite of all the covers that Metallica would do.
Yeah, that is
not your favorite.
Not my favorite. That's definitely one that gets held back by James's yeah, like sort of shit.
Yeah.
But that is, I mean, that's another essential part that maybe is why I love Thin Lizzy, is they do have an Irishness.
Yeah, they do.
It's not in Bruce, as Bruce is going to be American as all fuck. Like
Bruce is going to give you Southern before he ever gives you Jersey.
Exactly.
He's not going to be like, baby, we were born to run. Nah.
But Thin Lizzy is also one of those bands that is like, I look back at like my like recording career and I'll be like, man, I thought I was doing Panthers forever. And then I'm like, no, like there's a lot of bands like Thin Lizzy, like, and it obviously different times, but like it took so many records. Like it took up to, which was their Jailbreak was their sixth record, and is like the kind of classic, like the record label was like, all right, guys,
make
like,
or break.
We got it. Yeah, make or break. Like this isn't working. And it's true. It does take a while. Like if I'm looking, what?
Maker Jailbreak.
Oh, pow, pow, pow. Because just to go through quickly, because I really can go through it quickly. Like the first record, Thin Lizzy, I don't listen to that much.
I did listen to it, and I really enjoyed it. It's very nice.
It, but it just doesn't. There's a couple songs that work. It's just lighter. It's just they're still trying to figure out their shit. Yep. I don't go to it that often.
That sound wasn't formed there.
Right. And part of it is like they still were going through fucking guitarists, like left and right.
Yeah. And it's hard to form a sound without, one of the key ingredients, guitar.
Yeah, exactly. Shades of a Blue Orphanage has Whiskey in a Jar on a B-side, I think. But again, it's starting to get there. The middle part is really great. A Babyface, Brought Down, but I don't go to it as often. Vagabonds of the Western World,
which also has Whiskey in the Jar on it.
Also had, I think again, because it was like, all right, guys, like they didn't want to do it as a single. Their management was like, you got to do it. People are going to love this. And so they're like, I guess we got to keep shoving this thing on.
But this has the rocker on it, and the rocker fucking rules.
It's a fucking song about being fucking rocking, as far as I mean, that's
all you need.
That's the other crazy part about Thin Lizzy is like, I think I've said it before, where it's like, I love rock, but I hate rock and roll. Like, I don't really, like, because of just being a punk, like, the rock part of being a rocker has always been like, it's cool for stories, get it away from me.
I was never a punk. I was always a rocker.
Exactly. So that it's a real peanut butter and sardine sandwich with us. Yeah. And but the rocker is like just a song about seemingly just, I'm a rocker. I'm a roller too, baby.
If they would have made a video for the rocker, like they made videos in the late 80s for all the metal bands, like it would have been one of those like crane shot, like going into the stage. It would have been one of those live, like, Thin Lizzy on tour videos that you would see for like Jovi or like Poison or whatever, like backstage and all the fans like waiting out front with their Thin Lizzy shirts on. Mm-hmm. And that's what the video would have been for the rocker.
And it would have been awesome.
And I would have loved every second of it.
And then Nightlife.
Good album.
Again, it's good. It's still, they're getting there with the sound.
There's no hits on it.
No hits on it, but amazing. Still in Love with You. Great. Showdown. Great. Banshee's great. They also start to look really cool. That's the other part about Thin Lizzy. They look
cool, man.
Like, I mean, like totally, like especially Fighting. Like Fighting is like, that's what a band should look like.
Yeah.
Like on that fucking album cover.
I mean, Phil alone could take on any member of Zeppelin.
Easily.
In an out-cool contest. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Zeppelin would shit themselves in front of the Starship.
John Paul Jones would be like, hey.
Well, it's going to be me, I guess.
Yeah, it's going to be me and you.
Oh, no. I know you're going to win.
I'll say my copy of a lot of my Thin Lizzies are on Vertigo because I got them in Europe, either on tour with my band or visiting. Vertigo is, of course, like a kind of start off as like a progressive rock imprint, and it was like in response to Harvest.
Okay.
And also has one of the coolest logos, like just like I would get it on a shirt. I'm trying to see, I don't know if I can show it.
Oh, that is a cool logo. It's just like a bunch of circles.
Yeah, it's like a weird concentric, but it's like they had a lot of, again, proto metal and prog stuff, and that like those two labels kind of competed. Mm-hmm. And then, fighting. I've gotten Vertigo again.
But in the States, they would have been on Mercury Records, though, correct? Yeah.
Yes. My copy's from Glasgow, I believe. So Ireland. Nice. I've got it printed on the inside.
Well, you mean Glasgow, Scotland?
Yes. So, yay. So it's original from Glasgow.
Right.
Glasgow.
Just say not here. It ain't from here.
It ain't my place. Is where it's from. They look so cool on the back.
How can you these guys would kick the shit out of you.
Yeah.
And have a great time doing it.
But everything.
And they look fucking perfect. Like, if they kicked my ass looking like that, I'd be like, you guys look great.
Yeah. You earned it. You earned
this ass whooping that you just did on me.
But fighting is up there. Fighting's up there with one of my favorites.
Dude, it's so good. It's so good. And then Jailbreak has the iconic like comic book cover.
Yeah. It does. It's a crazy cover.
I love it.
I do love it too. They're coming out of some future TV.
Yeah.
Getting ready to Jailbreak. It's such a good record. This is also, so I don't know if I don't know. We've talked about bringing it on to the Hawk.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like also one of those like, oh, what was I doing at UCB sometimes? Like I used to do Phil Lynott as a character. I did it once as Phil, and then after was like, oh, I shouldn't do it as Phil. Like, it just feels wrong, like doing it as a Black Irish. Like, I just didn't think it through. I did it for like a bit show, a late night bit show, of course, but it was basically like the joke was like, Phil Lynott wants to sell The Boys Are Back in Town to every single commercial.
Yes. That was in your show. That was in
I ended up putting in the show as the ghost of Phil Lynott has possessed Jack Osborne.
Okay.
Is how it was, because I look like Jack Osborne.
What was and what were the brands that he was like? Yeah, actually,
Goy is Back in Town was the main.
Goy is back in town.
Goy is back in town. And I would like fit in jokes about shooting heroin between my toes.
Yeah,
and hanging out with Huey Lewis.
Okay, this is gonna come. You're gonna hear this. You're gonna hear this and Bad Company, Fudge Company.
Yes, they'll show up one day on there. Because that is, again, I put it up on my Insta recently. He also was very good friends with Huey Lewis.
Yes,
Huey Lewis was like Phil was Huey's mentor, because apparently the News was a different band. I'm blanking on the name, and they were the backing band for Van Morrison for a while.
Hold on a second. They also, what was the name of? Give me 1 second.
Coral or something like.
They also played on My Aim Is True for. They were the backing band for Elvis Costello.
That's what it was. That's what, not
Clover.
Van Morrison. Yes, Clover. So Clover, and then Huey plays harmonica on Phil Lynott's solo record. Because Phil has two amazing solo records, Solo and Soho, and then the Phil Lynott album. Jailbreak, unbelievable record. Every song
so good.
is great. And also has gotten out of the trap of classic rock killing bands for me, because I can listen to The Boys Are Back in Town and Jailbreak. You know, sometimes like a song that was like killed by your fucking classic rock station, you're like, maybe I don't need to listen to this one always.
Anything by the Eagles.
Yes, definitely.
Except for those shoes. Born out.
Emerald is really what like sucked me in, I think, to Thin Lizzy, probably, where I was like, oh shit, this is like a fucking stoner rock song.
Yeah.
And then Mastodon covered it, and then I forgot that Troy from Mastodon, the bass player, played in Thin Lizzy.
Really?
Like, for like at least 4 shows in the UK, which makes
insane.
Sense. I also forgot that we were playing London the same night as Thin Lizzy once when we were on tour. And in retrospect, I'm like, God, I wish we had gone to see it.
He's still, from what I'm looking at right now, he is still the touring bassist for Thin Lizzy.
When they play.
I
don't know who it is now. There's like Black Star Regulars. There's some members of it.
Scott Gorham is seems to be running the show right now.
That sounds about right.
So,
and I love Mastodon So, that kind of sucked me into Finland. But yeah, this record is, Jailbreak is just, ow. What a fucking
tremendous record. I mean, honestly, it is a pivotal classic rock album. Like you would be missing two humongous classic rock tracks if this album didn't exist.
Yeah.
And songs that I'm always happy to hear come on the radio, especially Jailbreak.
Well, that's the beauty. It's like
out!
Boys Are Back in Town was close. Boys Are Back in Town was close to getting pushed into classic rock killed this fucking song.
Yeah.
But I'm still
classic
fucking happy.
Rock killed this fucking song.
And people, you should let us know what songs did classic rock growing up kill for you.
I would just like to know. Classic rock? I would like to know. We'll include that in a future episode of Hawk Rock Talk. Then after that,
I also reminded me that at one point, me and at least the singer of Panthers were going to do a Thin Lizzy tribute band called The Boys. But we never got around. And I think it was gonna.
It'd be too confusing now with the.
I almost want to say at one point there was a dude from the Hold Steady that was gonna be playing guitar, in it. Okay. Might have been Tad from Hold Steady, but of course, I think it was more of a we're hanging out at fucking the fucking bars in Williamsburg, drinking and talking about it, and then later they're like, "You're gonna play bass." I was like, "Okay, I'll do that." I wasn't out with you, but I'll join in on this plan.
Sure, whatever.
And then Johnny the Fox.
Johnny the Fox.
So the thing
that's a good radio name, by the way.
Johnny the
Oh my God.
It's Johnny the Fox on 108.9 The Hawk.
Johnny the Fox will be showing up. He'll keep saying, Johnny the Fox, no relation.
No relation. Like, okay.
To the record? We're not insinuating that, Johnny.
You guys are related? Yeah. No relation.
So this is also part of the thing that maybe kept Thin Lizzy is Phil Lynott got hepatitis, which is also partly why, I don't think he knew this, but why for that rock and roll show, Michael Hartney, our good friend, suggested that my hard rock character should get hepatitis C.
Hilarious.
But they were supposed to go out with Rainbow, and then he got hepatitis, and then they recorded this record during it. So it's like they had a while of like maybe Phil wasn't working on his top of his game.
Okay.
That being said, it still is a good record. Like that,
I mean, to go from this to Bad Reputation, which is a solid fucking album.
Yeah, and that's again, they were having fucking, they like brought back that, like this was also, I didn't know this until I just watched the documentary. Not Scott Gorham, but the other guitarist who was there most of the time.
Who, Gary Moore? Or
not Gary Moore, because Gary Moore went in and out. Apparently Gary Moore was like the dream get for Phil Lynott. They say. They're like, all he wanted in life is a quote, I think, was to do a record with Gary Moore. Gary Moore was always like, I'm out of here again.
Gotta go. It's like, that's like Neil touring with Stephen Stills.
Yes.
Like they're happy to be back together, and then suddenly Stephen Stills gets a note saying, see ya, love Neil.
Yes.
Which the note actually said, eat a peach, because he left them in Georgia.
Yes. No, it's Brian Robertson, who also played in Motorhead.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think it might be before, I don't know in what order is. I had never heard this story, but basically they were about to go on like a big, I think, American tour.
Mm-hmm.
And he got into a bar fight defending his friend the night before, and then like punctured his hand.
Oh my God.
So like then it was just like, well, and the management was just like, what the fuck are you doing, you idiot? And so they had a lot of those kind of band issues too. Also, which Phil? Phil Collins played percussion on Johnny the Fox.
Completely different Phil.
No, is it?
Yeah, that's the other drummer.
According to Wikipedia, it goes to Genesis Phil. So, Wikipedia's never wrong.
There you go.
So that's what you got to say.
So that's probably why you like this.
Wouldn't you put it like, Phil, workaholic, tried to stave off his alcoholism by doing Johnny the Fox.
Yeah. Robertson later said Collins was a mate of Phil's. I think Phil probably just wanted to get him on the album to name drop.
I mean,
okay.
Yeah, it works for me right now going, Phil's on there. That's great.
Man, if only they had formed the Phils
Yeah. That would be a dream band.
What a world that would have been like. See you later, Tony Banks. See you later, Mike Rutherford.
Wowzers.
See you in hell, Steve Hackett.
I think
those
my
are all
wife
people
is
from Genesis. If you didn't listen to the last episode,
you
sorry.
should go back and listen to that, people.
Yeah, your wife hates
Johnny the Fox meets Jimmy the Weed.
Okay,
I think she's never psyched when that one comes on.
I gotta tell you, this album didn't get me at all.
It's got some moment, but I don't
like it.
In the middle. I don't go back to it. Feels it's still got some stuff in there, but
but it's like it felt like a sick album.
It does feel like a sick album.
And then you get Bad Reputation, and you're just like, God damn, the boys are back in town.
They are truly back. I mean, Soldier of Fortune is the bad rep. I mean, really, it's like every song.
Yeah.
Dancing in the Moonlight is the best Bruce Springsteen song you've ever heard.
I'm truly shocked that we haven't heard Dancing in the Moonlight in a Wes Anderson film.
Yeah. I'm truly shocked it isn't the soundtrack to Eddie and the Cruisers 3.
Wait, is there an Eddie and the Cruisers 3? Did they go that high?
I don't think so. Sadly.
Okay.
No, Eddie lives. Yeah, Eddie 2. Okay. Eddie Lives, I believe it's called.
I gotta tell you a secret. I've never seen Eddie and the Cruisers.
All right, people. I've
seen Iron Eagle. Have you seen Iron Eagle?
Weirdly, isn't it crazy that I've never watched Iron Eagle? Because I do a podcast on canon films, which is basically Iron Eagle should be like a canon.
That should have been a canon. You guys then have me on for a should have been a canon.
We'll do could have been a canon.
We'll do Iron Eagle.
Because I think, honestly, it missed me when I was a kid, and I think it's like 2 hours and 11 minutes. And I'm always like, that's too long, Iron Eagle. I could be wrong on this, but I think it's a surprisingly long movie.
And do you know what song was also on the soundtrack of Iron Eagle?
Is it one of the ones he plays in his like Walkman when he's flying the eagle?
One chicken.
Yeah, how is it?
One Vision.
No wonder you saw it then.
One Vision is in, and that's the only fucking reason I saw Iron Eagle was because it had a Queen song in it, and I was like, oh, this is good. But it's a great movie. It is truly a great movie.
If we really keep going deep on this, and especially if, I don't know, if maybe there's some Patreon-related Hawk stuff at some point.
Yeah, if only there was.
We'll do an Iron Eagle episode, and we will definitely do an Eddie and the Cruisers episode. I have watched Eddie. That was maybe one of my dad's favorite movies. It must have been up there with like Running Scared and Against All Odds.
Yeah, cry sweet freedom, shine a light on me.
I think you would.
The magic, you're right where I wanna be.
You might like Eddie and the Cruisers.
What is it about? Is it about a band?
Yeah, if I'm remembering semi-correctly, it's almost like.
Is it like Ricky and the Flash?
No, the log line is, what if Bruce Springsteen disappeared? And is mysteriously disappeared. Like mysteriously disappeared. No. Just like they don't know what happened.
Somebody kidnapped.
No, they don't know. You don't know.
Had he existed before that moment?
He's a rising rock star.
Okay.
And if I remember correctly, and I bet you this is completely wrong, but there's a reporter trying to get to the bottom of what happened to Eddie.
So basically Velvet Goldmine is a glam rock version of Eddie and the Cruisers.
If Citizen Kane didn't die, but maybe, and they're trying to figure out, it's like trying to like talk to like to the big man.
Pushing it with that one.
They're talking to like Clarence Clement.
They're like talking to Nils Lofgren, like, hey, where is this guy? But that's basically what Velvet Goldmine is too.
The saxophone guy had an affair with Bruce's wife in this movie.
Okay, we're watching Eddie and the Cruisers.
And it's a dude from Streets of Fire.
We can watch rock-related movies on Hawk Rock Talk.
Yes, we can.
That is the rule.
About it.
You can watch rock, like we can watch Buddy Holly Story.
Yeah, I would totally.
Have you seen Buddy Holly Story?
Yes, with Gary Busey.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Like 50 times.
Produced by Paul McCartney because he had just purchased the catalog. Yeah. And that was like his first thing to do to like make good on that.
I'm gonna change rock and roll, man.
Maybe we could probably. I've got Busey's email address. Maybe we can get him on that.
That might be scary.
That
might be scary.
I have text. I have Twitter messaged with Gary Busey before when we were trying to get him on the Best Show.
That's a scary concept.
And he gave me his email address to do it. and he has never responded to an email on that email address. So I'm not even entirely sure it exists.
Sure.
Or if it's real. But yeah.
I would love if we made that happen.
Oh, yeah. We will make that happen. Thin Lizzy. So Johnny the Fox.
I think Dancing in the Moonlight is the most Bruce Springsteen-y song to some extent.
It is. It felt so much like Spirit in the Night. So after your homework is listen to Spirit in the Night.
Yeah.
And see what you think on that, because it's just the like swaying and the dancing. I felt like whenever I hear Spirit in the Night, I think that I'm like transported back to 73.
Yeah.
In like some really smoke-filled restaurant. Italian restaurant, people are just eating, but there are also people on the dance floor.
Yeah.
But like they're equally loud. The eating sounds and the dance sounds are equally loud. So it's a lot of and like a lot of clop, clop, clop. Yeah. But it has that sort of atmosphere to it. This is an atmosphere song. You don't get too many atmosphere songs when you listen to something and it's clearly just like, oh, I'm in that place.
Yeah. That Woman's Gonna Break Your Heart has one of the best choruses. That woman's gonna break your heart. That woman's gonna tear your soul apart. He also, I'll say this with Phil, he is not afraid of clunky rhymes. He is not afraid of
fuck no.
Dumb, probably made up American references. They break down Dino's Bar and Grill where they were just like, I don't know, Dino was supposed to be like Dean Martin, and then he thought Bar and Grill was like an American thing. So he was
like,
yeah.
Why have we never had Dino's Bar and Grill on the Hawk?
People just get ready. Dino's Bar and Grill is coming. I forgot because you just forget about it. We're gonna start pulling our commercial parodies from Thin Lizzy's songs.
Yes.
Because if the boys are gonna fight, you better let them. And so but Bad Reputation is it might be one of the best.
This isn't the Joan Jett Bad Reputation. Also a great song. Also, this is a got a bad reputation. Just that riff, like the riff going right into it. You're like, fuck, here we go.
It's so good. Black Rose is the one for some reason I forget that I love. And then Black Rose, the rock legend, when I was re-listening to it again, I was like, wait a second. This is like one of my favorite Thin Lizzy records.
Is this a rock opera?
No. Weirdly. It seems like it should be.
Black Rose, a rock legend.
Or is it the name of a metal-themed horror movie?
Okay.
Yeah. No.
So none of the songs have anything to do with each other?
No, not as far as I know. It has Gary Moore on this one.
Finally. Oh, well, there you go.
He was finally happy.
Thank God. I did not listen to Black Rose.
Black Rose is worth Do Anything You Want To is one of the greatest songs. Toughest Street in Town has got this amazing chorus. S&M, another weird storytelling song about like a sex worker down on her luck who has to start doing S&M stuff.
Wow. Okay.
And then Rosenduba, they're like the 4-part Irish song is pretty unbelievable. That's the concept, and then the rest is just filler. Just other songs there. I think there's a song about his grandma.
I gotta write a song about my grandma.
Oh,
every good rocker is like, yeah, guys, I just brought in this song about my grandma.
Yeah, I also forgot which song. Oh, Sarah on this is about his newborn daughter.
Sarah.
I get teared up with this song because it's I'd write a song for Harry like this. Like it's just like it's like a real like. Yes, I actually have. It's not recorded yet. I gotta wait for the drummer to fucking finish it.
Unbelievable.
Chinatown is the one that I like to, as a pain in the ass, be like, this is my favorite Thin Lizzy.
Really?
It's because
Why?
It's a little bit like, and then there were 3 where I was like, oh, I think I'm done with Thin Lizzy records. And then all of a sudden, like, I was like, wait, I guess I should buy this one for $1. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait a second. It's got fucking weird kind of metal-y parts. Killer on the Loose. Like, we're starting to get like a little bit heavier.
Okay.
We Will Be Strong is like an anthem to end all fucking anthems. Like that should be some fucking soccer hooligan anthem. It's like, we will be strong. Oh, yeah. Our strength to carry on. Song about Chinatown, just singing about crazy shit going down in Chinatown.
Okay.
But Killer on the Loose is like an unbelievable song. But Genocide, the Killing of the Buffalo is such an amazing.
Is your favorite?
I love it so much.
Song.
And it's definitely probably problematic. Like one or two songs that he's got about singing about Native American culture. Okay. But as an Irishman, Hey You is an unbelievable. Like it's
that's a Pink Floyd song.
Yes. And they earn them some royalties.
Hey you. That's
you
like,
got
a lot
it,
faster.
mate. I mean, you actually did just sing it how they sing it on Chinatown.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about you mentioning Chinatown gets heavier because I was kind of shocked listening to Renegade.
Yeah.
Renegade's a much heavy, like you can hear him start.
I just need to say.
Okay, finish Chinatown.
Don't move past Chinatown. My wife used to wear a Chinatown shirt as like one of her like 4 working out shirts because we used it for a mod sketch that another writer wrote. And I like this writer a lot, but I remember this is like a weird, like good rock fact style, like Greg Lemonsour, like fighting deal.
Okay.
The game of this sketch was there's a classic rock DJ who's only playing Thin Lizzy. And I was just like, okay. Like, yeah, that's called like Sirius XM.
Yeah, that's
just a Thin Lizzy channel. And it was like this is station manager Ron kept being like
radio.
Yeah. And it was just like station manager Ron kept being like, you can't play any more Thin Lizzy. But I was just like, yeah, but it doesn't make sense. Because I was like, 1, they're amazing. And 2,
yeah, nobody's going to tell you to stop.
Yeah. Like, and that was the thing.
Listen to classic rock radio?
Well, that's the thing. Part of it was like people calling in saying you got to stop playing Thin Lizzy, I think, was part of the game. And I was like, that doesn't happen.
That doesn't track.
That's why I was like, oh, me and Jason will meet each other eventually and do this podcast.
I will say the real boss Ron, who was my boss at 105.3 The Bear, his name was Boss Ron. He was the greatest dude in the world. If I had gone rogue and I just kept playing Thin Lizzy, he would have fucking called with suggestions. He would have been like, play The Pressure Will Blow, Gore. He would have called in with suggestions. So yeah, that doesn't track for me.
No, it really drove me
nuts. Who is this writer? Tell me later.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Yeah, Renegade. Heavy fucking record. Snowy White on guitar. Angel of Death as a song.
It almost goes into like prog territory a little bit here and there.
Which is crazy. I mean, that's again why I think they started to like, they never got bit. Like they did the move of like getting proggier and more metally, but not in like what exactly was going on at the time in some weird ways.
And this was the end for me. I stopped at Renegade. I didn't listen to anything. I didn't listen to Thunder and Light. I did go listen to Solo in Soho though.
Oh, great.
Which is Phil Lynott's solo album, which is tremendous.
Yeah, it's great.
It's so good.
It goes a little bit all over the place in a good way.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this makes sense to do it. Like this guy was
very
prolific.
varied.
It's crazy that he was on heroin and so prolific. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also Live and Dangerous is like, touted as like one of the best live records that's ever existed.
But
it's disputed.
Yes.
Go to the document. There's a BBC document. It's pretty fun to watch. And it's like Tony Visconti is like, it's 70-30. And then everyone else in the band is like, no, come on.
But
and he's basically like, though. Phil Lynott was like, oh, I messed up that one note. Would it be all right if I did this one line? And then the other guitarist came in and they were like, wait a second. If he can do it, I want to fix all my shit.
Yeah. But that's the thing about these live albums of the time, though.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be getting shit for that because literally everyone else did it.
And you know what I'll say? As
Kiss
someone
did it on a live 1, a live 2.
As someone who I generally... I mean, they also point out, they were like, it's a live record. At the time, they were just like, it's kind of a throwaway contract filler.
Yeah.
Like, except for Frampton Comes Alive, those weren't like huge sellers.
Right.
And generally...
I would say At Budokan was a pretty big seller compared to their albums for Cheap Trick.
I think it's like there's the rarity.
Yes.
And for me, like Live at Budokan fits in there as well as like, oftentimes like a live record, you're like, I'll have it for the discography. But I'm not going back to it as much. But it is hard because that's one of the things they would say about Thin Lizzy is just like live, they were even better. They were like unbelievable. Live and Dangerous is a pretty unbelievable record. So I just need to, give the quick shout to like Thunder and Lightning is the underdog record of Thin Lizzy. They had kind of like, lost guitarists again. Vandenberg is on there, who was in Tigers of Pantang. And Thunder and Lightning is pretty metal. Like, I mean, like, and like, it's trying to match with the times a little bit more.
So with like Priest and stuff like that.
Yeah, because it's not like matching like hair metal-y. Yeah. But it is unbelievable. Like, Thunder and Lightning is an unbelievable song. This is the one, like, The Sun Goes Down. Like, it really, Cold Sweat is one of the best songs they've got. It's worth a listen. I think it's actually one of the ones I listened to the most. I was listening to it before we got on. And then there's a live record called Live. That was kind of their last gasp. All the guitarists show up for it. But Thunder and Lightning is, it almost doesn't sound like Thin Lizzy sometimes, but then you're like, oh no, these vocals sound exactly like Thin Lizzy. It's an unbelievable record. I listen to it nonstop. And I push for you to listen to it.
Now I will listen to it. Here's the thing. I mean, we're kind of getting towards the end here on the Thin Lizzy episode. It's one of those bands. I've been shocked recently by two bands that I never really listened to much of. Even working in classic rock radio, which was kind of shocking to me because I'm like, why didn't I ever deep dive? I could have taken some of the time I was always listening to Queen or Zeppelin and devoted a little bit of that to Thin Lizzy. The other band, so it was Thin Lizzy and the other band was UFO.
Unbelievable. So, I can't wait to do a new UFO.
So we'll do a UFO episode, but it all ends. Thin Lizzy still exists, but without Phil Lynott because
Phil passed away. He basically had organ failure from
just all of the partying.
Yeah, drugs and hepatitis. Like literally, it seemed like he had like a billion things going on.
Yeah.
Like, and he looks rough in some of those later. Like, he still sounds amazing, but you can see it looks rough. It's sad because there still is like a like trying to put a finger on what it is about Thin Lizzy that gets me so much, but I'm like, there's like the classic rock bands that I like listen to regularly enough, but like not all the time. Thin Lizzy's in like the 5 that are like all the time. Like, my wife has got to be so frustrated.
Who are in the 5?
Genesis, Thin Lizzy, Dio Rainbow. Combo. See Music lately.
Okay.
In there.
No, I love Roxy Music. I've been listening to Roxy Music too.
What else would be in the 5? I'm trying to think. Now I'm blanking. I'm sure there's like, my wife would be the one who would be like, this band, Jesus Christ.
Which one? Well, which one does are there any of the 5 that your wife enjoys?
Yeah, I mean, she likes Roxy Music and like, she likes Genesis.
Yeah.
But it truly is, I know we've talked about this, like, your main listening is, like, headphones, right?
100%, yeah.
And
unless it's, like, Queen, or,
I have
like,
music
a band that we agree on.
I have music on from the beginning of the morning, like, literally at 6:30 a.m. Usually I'll make it, like, new age, or, like, ambient, or light, and then it doesn't come off until 8 o'clock when my kid goes.
Wow.
And
is it playing right now in the house?
If I forgot to turn it off, every once in a while, Christy will walk in the office like, why is Mike Oldfield playing in your office on Sonos? But yeah, and luck, and in the car, the minute we're in the car, it's on all the time. It drives me nuts if we're not listening to music. Yeah. Like, and she, I just try to keep her in mind. Like, I'd probably be listening to a lot more brutal death metal, but she still listens to a lot of brutal death metal. But then it helps that it'll be like, oh, the new Brian Eno's out. Like, I've been listening to that on loop. But yeah, and so she, I don't know, in my mind, you know what it is? Thin Lizzy is a dinner time band. Thin Lizzy is I have my mother-in-law in the car.
Gotcha.
I can put a Thin Lizzy playlist on. Like I'll just put this is Thin Lizzy. There are those are sometimes what happens more so that they become bands like that I listen to a fair amount because I can't be like, let's put on the Dying Fetus playlist. I'm sure my mother-in-law will love that.
This is Dying Fetus.
And This is Dying Fetus, and I listen to it when I'm alone, or just with my son.
Don't you hate the This Is lists when it's like a band that has a really bad new single and they put it at the top of the This Is?
Sometimes those algorithms are so fucked.
Yeah.
And especially like with a band like Genesis or Yes, they're going off of what gets the most listens. So then they'll be like, oh, Owner of a Lonely Heart gets the most, so we should only...
Listening to if you're listening to Yes, and you're going to be listening to Owner of a Lonely Heart, and then you want to listen to...
Hey, it's Johnny the Fox with Owner of a Lonely Heart on What Are We Putting in the Hut?
But you'll get, with Genesis, like you'll get like everything related to Invisible Touch. And then I'm like, well, no, I didn't want that. I wanted you to find some deep dive La Orme song.
It's not Pulling Supper's Ready.
It ain't Pulling Supper's Ready, baby.
It ain't doing it.
That's for a Greg Lemon Sour shit.
Right,
all right?
Right. But ladies and gentlemen, that is Thin Lizzy. Any final thoughts on Thin Lizzy? We know where you stand. We know where you are. We know where you live.
We know where you live.
I mean, truly, get your preconceived notions out of your brain.
I think you can take that preconceived notion and just shove it up your ass.
This is Johnny the Fox.
There's the voice. That's it.
It's Johnny the Fox. Hey, how you doing today? This is Johnny the Fox.
That's a fox sound. Get used to it.
Embrace the beauty of Phil Lynott's voice. And
oh god, yeah.
But also honestly for Thin Lizzy, like go in knowing you're gonna get a lot of like kind of storytelling.
If you like Bruce, if you like the Hold Steady, if you like that storytelling, you're gonna get it with Phil.
But also if you want anthemic choruses, you're gonna get so fucking many of them. It just also means you're gonna get like, and then I saw this baby out down on
Windmill Street.
Like, it's just like, what are we talking about here, Phil?
Oh, yeah, he's talking about the baby down on Windmill Street.
Yeah, there was his baby.
It was a baby down on Windmill Street.
Yeah, they talked about how he was obsessed with this TV show, I think 77 Sunset Strip. And they were like, and that place didn't exist. He was just making everything up.
We're all down at the 77 Sunset Strip.
It's like Phil
right
Collins with the Alamo.
Bar.
Like just right next to Dito's Bar and Grill.
And if you're gonna fight, you better let him.
That was part of my character. That you'll hear it on the Hawk. Is he would always kind of end up saying that. Just every once in a while, he would like lead back.
If you're gonna fight,
you better let him.
You better let him.
He's the best. They are truly the greatest. And maybe we should be starting a fucking Thin Lizzy cover band.
Yeah, I think I would totally do that.
We definitely could pull it off.
Oh god, yeah. 100%. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's Hawk Rock Talk. Thank you for listening to this bonus episode of 108.9 The Hawk. You can go to 1089thehawk.com and, all the stuff's there. All the episodes are there. You can click on Talk to the Hawk on the right side of the screen, and you could pretend that you're calling the Hawk or leaving us a voicemail. Maybe you're calling from the elderly channel. We did have a call with somebody calling from the elderly channel that was very funny.
Oh, and
yeah, it's Hawk Rock Talk is a part of that. It's up there. So many episodes of this, and of course the West Turlington audiobook is still going to be being posted. Apple Podcast, we talked about it earlier, but please go ahead and head on over there and give us a 5-star review. And
remember to always say, I really like this, Jeff.
I really like this, Jeff.
What did we also say to throw in this time?
This time, let us know if there are any classic rock songs you're kind of burned out on that classic rock radio kind of killed for you.
Yes. What did classic rock just destroy in your brain?
Let us know.
If the boys are gonna fight, you better let them.
The fights are back. The fights are back.
The Hawks are back. The Hawks are back.
Oh, that should be for the Hawks coming back.
There you go. The Hawk. Oh, for the mall.
The mall Hawks.
The Hawks are back. If those Hawks are gonna fight, you better let them.
If those Hawks are gonna tear your head off, you better let them.
Oh, there you go. Ghost of Phil Lina is announcing the Hawks are back.
Mickey and Mac's down there today.
Mickey and Mac at Dino's Bar and Grill.
And if those Hawks are gonna fight, you better let them.